jail's not that bad. It's
All views expressed by the hosts and guests in this podcast are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of their respective employers. Guests and hosts may maintain positions in the assets discussed in this podcast. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and nothing in the podcast is intended to be financial, legal, or even life advice.
Hey guys, welcome back to More Than Speculation. This week's episode, just Lambros and I again. We want to chat about everything that has been happening in the market. But honestly, man, it's been pretty slow. Like, what have you been up to though?
So slow that you can't even tell Bitcoin it hit all-time high, right?
It's so different. It's so different. Like the last time we hit like 72, 73K numbers, I think people are really hoping that we are going to conclusively like break above 80K, like shoot candle up. But now it's like very muted. Like everybody is just like, yay, all-time high. But like, I'm not hearing all the hype.
I feel like I'm like the only drunk guy in lunch. Like, you know that part feeling of I'm the only drunk guy in lunch and everyone's just like not drinking kind of thing. Like that's how I feel. But anyways, what you've been doing, actually. I've been pretty quiet and chilling this week.
I mean, been honestly mostly looking at the liquid side more than the private side. Just, like looking what's like ETH underperformance, alts underperformance, and just like trying to sort of like make sense of this bull market, especially going to like election and like all of that. Yeah, but like not a lot of things on the private side for now. I want to sort of like talk about what I just briefly mentioned, which is the sentiment around ETH. I think this is one topical item that is very interesting, and a lot of the people on CT timelines are talking about this. But for context, right? So I think ETH is. There was a tweet that says we're 2K away from all-time high on both Bitcoin and ETH. The difference is that it was 71K for Bitcoin, 2K to 73K was K for ETH to 4.5K, right? And I think that's just sort of like that combined with Consensus and DYDX recently off. So for our listeners, Consensus just laid off, I think 20%, and DYDX 35% of their folks. I feel like it's a local bottom for ETH, like sentiment-wise. And like I hope this is not like a hopium, but I hope that after DevCon, we are finally going to see ETH perform again. But I want to hear what you have to say about that.
I think I have the lowest, so everyone that knows me, I'm an ETH bull, but like I've been affected by the sentiment, like for real. Like I haven't done anything. I stopped DCing ETH. Yeah, and then so I was gonna buy this meme coin called T, but I'm not gonna go into that one. Then I realized I don't actually have ETH anymore. Like I don't have ETH. Like I have ST ETH, I have all those kind of weird ETH staked everywhere, but I don't actually have ETH. Like just ETH, basically because of slippage and routing. I was like, fuck it, let's just buy like a few ETHs. And then I realized I haven't traded on ETH so much. I basically don't have ETH. Like I have stablecoin and shit, and I have all this weird ETH. Then I'm like, I end up only buying like very little just because of that. Then I was like, shit, I have more Solana on my Solana shitcoin wallet than ETH wallet, and I haven't used Ethereum stuff other than DeFi to stake stuff. And I'm like, yo, this must be so. And then I'm like, yo, shit. It's like, is this what Bitcoin bros think when Ethereum was pumping? Like legit, this is how I felt.
Oh no. Yeah. You're right though. Like I think I saw a similar tweet from Minion from like GBV. He was showing like his group chat of like people are saying, yo, I completely forgot that I have to approve like the transaction first or something like that. They're just so used to like degenning on Solana that people don't remember about ETH. But that's crazy, man. I actually want to like add on to that with my observations. If for our listeners, if you go to our YouTube channel, I'm sharing my screen, but I think what's super interesting is that this whole run up, right? Because Bitcoin briefly hit all-time high. I might be slightly wrong there, but it's almost there. It's like 73K range. But you can see that ETH and pretty much altcoin. So what I'm showing on the screen right now is the total 3 on TradingView, which is basically the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH, right? And you can see that basically, here, let me make it more clear. So you can see that in Q1 from Jan to April, basically it has a massive run, right? Like the whole altcoin market cap almost 2x. And then I think slowly we have had like this bleed in Q2 and in Q3. But right now, for all of you like chartists out there, this looks like it's about to break up. So maybe it's just like a hopium stuff. But basically what's been happening is this is a Bitcoin driven rally and memes, right? So it's like majors and memes, and most alts have been underperforming, although it's getting better since the end of September, right? So this is like, again, for our listeners, you can go to our YouTube channel, but basically sort of like from here to here.
Oh my God,
like
Marco is charting.
Yeah. I'm charting, right? But you can literally see though, like it, like the flip happened around like the 21st, 22nd of September, I guess, like post token, right? Maybe that's like some voodoo shit, but like basically like now it's it feels like it's gonna go. It feels like it's gonna go back up again. So I have some hopium. I think a lot of people are hoping that after the election, if Trump wins or if there's like more like clarity, then we will see what's up. But yeah, dude, like what's your like read on altcoin? Because like I know you're like been paying attention to like a lot of the new ecosystems, I would say.
So my current strategy is that try every new ecosystem and also revisit older ecosystem that basically has potentially bottomed up. So new ecosystem, obviously crypto like new coins, so we're gonna like we always try the new stuff, like that's first for sure. You can randomly get airdrops, you can see what people are hyped about, and there's more incentives and more energy to stuff. So try every single new chain has always been my strategy. The second bit is okay. Before I go into that, so how do I try new things? I try to yield farm on the first decks there. I try the Kingmaker app on the chain just because typically they're quite well vetted, unlike back in the days where if a chain comes on, random people build on it, right? Whoever gets the endorsement or allow on the page is typically like semi-vetted, right? So the risk is kind of low, and then the ROI is a bit high, just because there's too many chains, so they have to give more. So I want to use that as an unfair advantage. And then for finding bottom-up charts, is like there are a lot of chains pivoting or adding things to look sexier, and if you think that pitch looks good, then it might be do it right. I lightly mentioned Clayton, Kaya, whatever it is called right now. It's essentially like a Korean chain that does line and stuff. I'm not sure. Do you have my tweet, by the way?
Yeah, I think I saw that you were tweeting about it briefly. Let me pull that up.
Yeah. Okay. The play is simple, right? So Line is basically a chatting app. Line and KakaoTalk is one of the biggest Asian chatting app. There's some stacks below that I'll go over later because I don't remember them. But TLDR is that first is 10x less compared to the valuation of Ton. Obviously, the argument that Ton has a very low float. You can click in the second tweet of images. Yep. Secondly, Kaya is actually down 97% from all-time high.
Right.
So it's like the downside is kind of limited, and then whereas like how much lower can it go, right? And then if it goes up, it's a good vertical, right? So what I think might work, the first is going to be is actually a huge app. Like if you use the app, it's like it's better than Telegram, to be honest. Not including how native are the users, all the privacy things.
Right.
And people who miss the Ton trade might look for this. And secondly, with Bitcoin going all-time high, retail are coming in. And I think retail concepts they might prefer this over like Omi chain abstraction, those kind of things, right? Like they need something they can feel and touch, right? And then, but the hard part is I realize like the things that they might run into. First, execution is hard because they are like the top chatting app. And Ton is a little bit like unregulated in some like Telegram is a little bit unregulated, so they get to do more things flexibly, whereas this is not. Execution is a problem. Execution is hard. Secondly, I realize a lot of like Western people are not aware of this app as much as Asians in general. So I put a very small position in. Depending how they develop the ecosystem, I might size up. There's two ways that I might exit. First is other people will start saying, "Oh my God, this might be the next ton," and I'll start exit then. If I think that, if they're not doing well, if they're doing well, then you just hold it to like ton basically. Like, so if they execute well, it might be a pure narrative play, or it might be a potential implementation play to exit basically. But yeah, that's just what I've been doing lately.
I think this is why crypto is such a fun and a global industry. So just like one context on this, I've actually not used Line since I was in primary school. I think like it was big for like a little bit, but I was trying to book some venue for DevCon. So if you're listening to this, I do have some events, but I was trying to look for some DevCon venue, and dude, all the Thai people don't use WhatsApp. So like I've been trying to like contact like their like coffee shops, like, hey, I want to book, I want to pay you, I want to give you money, but like it's so hard to be in touch with them if you don't use Line. Is to the point that I have to ask like one of my local Web2 friends that like live there, like, yo dude, can you book this for me? Because it's like, and I kind of feel like if you're in crypto, like one of the beauty is that if you get to travel around to these different conferences in different countries, like you get to use the dominant social messaging app in those respective regions, and you get to see like how powerful some of them can be, and you can clearly see like the whole Telegram like playbook that they're trying to follow. Like they're trying to follow WeChat, and then now it's kind of like it's a bit like back and forth, and then like some of the like smaller Asian ones like Line, Kakao Talk are trying to follow Telegram with the chain play. I don't know, but I just think it's like interesting to see all of the different experience.
Yeah, that's like I feel like that's the consumer-fi angle in general, because they have apps, mini apps and stuff. But yeah, that's just what I've been doing. They have some airdrop program that I'm just gonna farm it. So that might potential, if it does go another negative 97%, I have something to hold on to as well.
I wanna actually talking about like down 95%, right? I wanna talk briefly about this. So okay, so this was posted by Animoca Research, right? But basically, it's an analysis of the performance of all of the tokens listed on top exchanges, top centralized exchanges since January of this year. And you can see here pretty much the conclusion is that everything is down, from an average of 27% for Binance and OKX. And then for like a lot of the other tokens like Bybit, KuCoin, BitGet, it's down 50%, right? And I was just thinking to myself, I've been seeing some hate on CX on the timeline, but I think this is actually like part of a broader systemic issue in a sense that it's just the lack of retail speculation. The exchanges have actually been making more, they can still improve, but they've been making more of an active effort compared to 2023 or 2022 when there were listings at crazy valuations, right? But yeah, I think a lot of people are like, oh, the CX are at fault, they're charging a lot of money, they're like listing at a super high valuation. But even if you list at like 300 to 500 million, if there's no retail buyer, it's just not going to go up. And I think retail, again, I know that we have touched on this before in our prior episode, but retail is either doing stock options, or they might be even doing like sports gambling, or it might be even election gambling and like all of that. So they're not touching altcoins right now. Do you agree with that, or what's your read there?
In the end of the day, people will find reason to justify whatever is not working. But valuation or not, I don't like. Valuation in crypto is one of the biggest bullshit, right? If people want to buy, they will buy as high as possible. If they don't want to buy, you can go as low as 50k FDV, and still no one's gonna buy. So I don't think, but they need to complain, right? So it's gonna be sex. But in general, no one wants to buy anything. When is the last time you bought some altcoin? To be very honest, that is new, and you got very excited and bought at a size that you be like, I can't go in too much. I think
As private market investors, we are already exposed to altcoins.
Fucking suits.
No, but dude, what do you think about all of the unlocks though? I think that's also one of the other issues, right? It seems that I saw that you were sharing with me some articles about unlocks, and I want to get your read on that, because it's one thing that I've been personally getting questions from some founder friends and all of that. How do you think about this? How do you manage this? And I'm wondering as a as an operator yourself, how you've been thinking about that?
You mean as a project team, how would you handle unlocks?
Yeah, or just like, I guess both that and as a retail investor, given you have like a lot of community, right? How do you see the people in your community see unlocks?
So first, I think when the token is unlocked, there's nothing you can do. Like you should be doing stuff before the unlock, right? And vesting is supposedly to be your growth trajectory. If your inflation is 20%, somehow your growth of the token should be at least 20% to offset that and more to go up. But let's not go into the details of this. But what happens in crypto is people get nervous. So they pump up the news or they get bullish news near the unlock. Then you kind of gamble on, are they doing that? Are they going to do that? Like, are they going to plan a bullish news right before the unlock just to support the price? Then you got to price in that, would you long it or short it? Is there any squeeze or anything? In general, there was, I think around 6 months ago, we were playing a lot of like big unlocks, good news, so you kind of long the thing. But I think the altcoin market is kind of bad right now where I'm not going to sell because of unlock and I'm not going to buy because of unlock as well. I'm just very in touch with that side in general, just to keep an eye out kind of thing. So I'm not, I don't have a read on it. I don't think there's a play as well. But yeah, I think TIA has a very big unlock and there's a lot of very disappointed people on it because I don't think, maybe I've missed it, but I don't think they got one airdrop. Like they haven't gotten more airdrops since the stick for airdrop thing went on, right?
Oh, my biggest farming mistake was farming in the TIA ecosystem instead of putting more money to like Ethena, and we are an Ethena investor, so that was my biggest mistake.
I have like 20 TIA wallets sticked.
Oh shoot. No, but yeah, like that's do you think bullish unlock is a real thing, or is that completely BS?
I think 100%. Cause like put it the other way, right? There's two ways of playing it. If the team is grifty or if they're like grinders, right? They will put the bullish news near the unlock to delay the sale, assuming the cap table.
Right. Got it.
Let's dissect this in a few things. First, unlock. You shouldn't generalize the term unlock, right? It really depends who's on the cap table as well and who's getting unlocked. So I think that's the first thing. If they have toxic capital or not, or they have like long-term investor, that's two different case. Then secondly, it's how hardworking is the team. In a sense where would they put bullish news there, and sometimes it's unlocked but no one is selling, and then plus the unlocking bullishness, the token just still go up, kind of thing. Or there are teams that would use that opportunity to kind of wash out the weekends as well, which is like bullish dump and then 2-3 weeks later, big pump based on news or marketing maker support, those kind of things.
Yep.
It's you cannot generalize. The thing with like crypto bros is like they always try to generalize the whole thing. Oh, unlock, I gotta do this, but like every case and situation is actually different.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys just read too much threads and without thinking it through, how does it actually work?
Wait, so like in a sense, if I can summarize what you were just describing, basically like unlocks really depend on the team's ability to execute on like aligning the different token holders, what they want, like how do they want to sell, aligning it with the market makers, help facilitate maybe some of the transactions so that the selling pressure on the open market is not that bad, and then also like aligning some of the more bullish and exciting news around the unlock time, because I think that's completely normal, right? Because like some people might be hearing this and like, oh wow, that's like a little bit weird. Like why are they doing that, dude? Like Elon Musk would align like anytime there's like some big news about Tesla, he would, and then maybe he would like in the following quarter you would get news that he was actually selling stocks during that time, right? Like this is just private public capital market dynamics that I think sometimes people vilify crypto people for doing it when they just take a step back and they see like US stock market, it's happening all the time, right? So I think what you said makes sense. It's like case by case.
It's every capital market is PvP. It's just that crypto is so small that you can feel it. Where stock, you don't really feel it.
We can touch it.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh
that's
shit,
good.
one tick actually makes a matter. Someone can one tick
Oh my God.
dump the token.
Talking about altcoins, though, I think one very important factor that people are looking towards is going to happen in November, right? So at the beginning of this podcast, when we released the first episode, we said that we're not going to talk a lot about politics, but I'm going to make an excuse just this one time because we are like 1 week out, okay? So for our listeners, right, we are recording this on October 31st, right? And it should be out on November 1st on Friday. US election is on November 5th. And FOMC, which is like when the Fed decides whether they're going to increase interest rate or decrease interest rate, that's on November 6th. That's literally the next day after election. And then on November 12th is DevCon, right? So it's going to be a very busy November for like all crypto investors. And I just want to set the stage and like, why are these two Asians qualified to like talk about US politics, right? And okay, like we are not gonna spend like 15 minutes on US politics, but I actually lived in the Midwest, okay? Like unlike some of these bi-coastal VC elites only in SF or New York, I actually lived in like the proper rural American for like a couple of years, okay? So but just to set the stage here, I think basically what's happening, and again for our listeners, I'm sharing my screen right now.
1 second. Before we go into the details, how about do a quick summary of like ABC scenarios that might affect ABC as well for the people who are not following US politics?
Okay, so it's like the scenarios, right? Like if A wins, if B wins, and like all of that. Yeah, but I'm just gonna shoot it. Okay. All right. So for our listeners on YouTube, you can see that I'm currently sharing my screen about the U.S. election polls, right? So basically, just a very quick high-level summary, especially for the non-American listeners of this podcast, right? Essentially, it's a very tight race, right? And it's a 50-50 sentiment-wise, and what a lot of like the political pundits out there, whether you believe them or not, and the mainstream media like BBC and like all of the polls are showing, it's a very, very, very tight race. And we even have sort of like great macro investors like Paul Tudor Jones or Stanley Druckenmiller came out on Bloomberg or on CNBC basically saying it doesn't really matter because no matter who wins, it's just more inflation. It's just that if Trump wins, the inflation is going to become crazier, right? But regardless, both are just going to lead on to more inflation, which the TLDR version of that is basically buy risk on assets, right? Because more inflation means that your assets value should go up. And I think what's the most interesting sort of like thing to pay attention to is that these swing states that sort of like 6 to 7 states that might go left or might go right, kind of depending on very, very little margins.
Can you do a very quick coverage what is swing state for the non-US listeners?
Yep. No, I mean, like, again, like swing state are basically states in which the outcome of the election can be 50-50, whether they're leaning Democrat or leaning Republican. So for example, again, for the non-Americans, right? If you're in California, that's a Democratic state. Like it doesn't really matter how you look at it because 70 to 80% plus of the voting turnout in the past couple of decades are all blue or all Democratic. So it's almost like a guaranteed win, right? But in every single U.S. election, the most important things are the few states in which it might go red or it might go blue, and just because of like 1 or 2 states, that might decide the entire outcome of the election, right? And again, I'm not here to sort of like explain the electoral college process, blah, blah, because that requires its own podcast. But the TLDR is that there are a couple states called swing states that you need to pay attention to. And it might sometimes come down to just even like the difference between 40 to 50,000 voters, right? If 40,000 people in one specific village in one specific county decide to like vote here or vote there, that might change the entire outcome of that state, which can change the entire outcome of the US election. I'm going to pause there first if you have any questions, man.
No, I'm all good. I just want to make sure everyone, because like when I was speaking to with some of my community, they don't actually know what swing state is. But yeah,
got it. Yeah, no, but like I think what's again just to quickly move on, I think what's the most interesting, like other than that, is that most of the mainstream media polls, they are showing very, very tight race, 50-50. Even a lot of them are leaning towards like Harris, I would say. But if we looked at all of the prediction markets, it's not just poly market, because some people might think like, oh, like poly market is like crypto, blah, blah. But Kalshi, right? So Kalshi is the prediction market that just won against the CFTC in court. So now they are legally allowed to offer political outcome bets. They're like, and they're not crypto related at all, right? But you can see here that the money is leaning towards Trump. Now he's leading at 59% as of the time of this recording. And if you go to Poly Market, it's actually even more significant. I think right now in Poly Market it's around 62% leaning towards Trump, right? So I personally think that this is a much tighter race than what of the prediction markets are saying. And I hope that's not like a controversial statement, but we have had a lot of like people on Twitter basically saying that it's not that hard to sort of like shift the sentiment in these prediction markets. A Chaos Labs, one of our Portco, actually wrote a pretty good article that you can spend 40 to 60 million and you can pretty much shift a decent percentage on Poly Market. So it's not like something that requires a huge sum of money if you just want to change the sentiment. And so like I'm personally on the camp that this is much more tighter, and the reason why you are seeing a much higher Trump odds are because people who like to gamble, people that like to speculate on these platforms, they are happier if Trump wins, because Trump's economic agenda is basically going to lead to more inflation. Now, whether you agree with him or not, basically more inflation. That's a TLDR. So yeah, I hope that's not too long. I think we spent like less than 5 minutes. But basically, it doesn't matter who wins. It's going to lead to more inflation. You just need to see sort of like what is happening in these swing states next week. And the last thing that I'm going to say, I do think if Harris wins, short term, we might see some like downside pressure because of the surprise. But I think in like 1 year from now, it's not going to matter. Like it's not like if she wins and like Bitcoin's going to be like at 35K. So like, yeah.
Okay. I don't have as detailed thoughts as you, but basically I think it doesn't affect that much. And I do think the recent pump is priced in, basically. Like it's priced in of the election.
Priced
either
in.
way. And to be honest, if I'm so bored. Like, what are you gonna do, right? If you buy Bitcoin right now and then it dumped by 10 to 20%, like nothing, like it's nothing. So it doesn't really matter. I don't really care about the election in a way where I think it would change the Bitcoin price, but the volatility is so low that you don't really care. And then I actually care about news that will pump the altcoin market even more. That's just my 2 cents, anyways.
Dude, but that's like while we're on this topic, I think it's like it sucks to see that news-based trading is no longer as relevant these days. Like every time there's a big news item related to a specific token, it doesn't move the price at all, right? Like, and that's sort of like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around, like, is it really just because no one cares anymore, or is because the market is now too mature that all of that is pretty much priced in, or you have like sophisticated actors and market makers? Yeah.
Let's do a case study, right? Let's say you're an investor, and because of the election, assume that you know everything you know right now, but you never put money in it, and then you're gonna be like, I have zero exposure in crypto, and because of whoever wants the election, you want to stop buying crypto. What would you buy? You have $10. How would you allocate it?
Because wait, you mean like if Trump wins, which crypto am I gonna buy? Which
yeah, if you think the market is gonna pump overall, what token will you buy other than BTC, ETH, and SOL?
Am I like an institutional book, or am I just like a retail investor?
Retail. But yeah, retail, but you cannot buy meme coins. Like it has to be something that you can buy on centralized exchange. The fact that you think of it, the fact that you have to go through this process, meaning you can see why no one is buying things, right? There's nothing that's going to be like, I go buy now kind of thing. Like it's
Yep.
Yeah.
None. I think, like, I mean, like what I've been hearing from friends are still mostly SOL, honestly. And I think that's because these are people that know that they can use it to eventually trade memes, right? But that's what I've been hearing. Yeah.
I think so. so the closest bet right now for me, I feel like it's going to be ETH, BTC, Sol, maybe the next Sol, which is going to be like, I don't know who can do it, but like it's going to be Sway, Aptos, or some other or change that's going to be, oh, so you're too late for Solana. And I feel like this is going to be the common trend, or it has to be something that people can play with.
They're going to play.
Yeah, or it has to be something that retail can play with. Like, let's say, like, something like Clayton, something like Ton, something like that. Like, because there's nothing else to trigger them, right? To buy things other than the consumer things and the next Solana, basically.
Yeah, it's either like, hey, this happened before with Solana, and a lot of people make a lot of money, so so they're going to position themselves as a beta to Solana. Or as you correctly alluded to, I think people are sort of like tired, like, hey, this is a very smart MEV project that's going to do like custom bundling. Like they're probably not going to care. And I think that's sort of like the double-edged sword of crypto, right? Like a lot of very great high intellectual project, but it's just very hard to market your token if retail can't play with it, if they can't touch and feel it. Whereas like consumer and the social tokens that you mentioned, at least if they play their cards right, they will be able to make experiences for the users to directly interact with their chain, with their products, which should make the users like want to buy their tokens more. Yeah, again, it's a tricky time out there. I do want to like move on into like the final thing that we have on our agenda here. So an investigation came out, I think a couple of days ago on MrBeast, right? It was a really, really good one. Again, like Lever is already laughing here, but it was a really good one by this guy. I need to give credits and a shout out to his name. Frankly, I've never heard of them before, but by Casper and a bunch of like researchers. You can see Casper Vanderlock on X. But basically, they even made like an entire custom website to sort of like explain the entirety of MrBeast crypto activities and how allegedly he profited more than 23 million on sort of like some people call it scams, others say it's more of like shady deals and shady behaviors. But I think what's interesting here is the fact that so I think we have seen times and times again, right? Influencers go into crypto, they do some shady things, they launch their own tokens, and then they kind of like left without a lot of like repercussions and like all of that. So before I kind of break down what he allegedly did, what are your opinion on this, man? Like, what kind of influencers you think have done right? And if let's say if like I'm an influencer or like a famous person right now and I want to do something in crypto, how do I make sure that I don't become, I guess, just like scumbags and just like scam people?
The problem, first off, I want to say I used to buy a lot of MrBeast coins as well, even though I know they're a scam. Because you buy what you think other people will buy, right?
Yeah. It's just PvP. Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I think Iggy is doing a good job.
Yeah.
Like standing by her statement, even though I don't agree with everything she's doing, but like at least she's trying, right? It's like me trying to go to gym. I still go to gym even though I'm like fat. Like I'm trying, right? The second thing is, I don't think more. Okay, so I think there's two parts to this. First, do the KOL know what they're doing? Because like the problem with KOLs right now is that they might not know how bad the industry, or they don't know the tricks, right? But because people just assume they are smart people, assume that they are whatever, and then they just have, it's like trading on leverage. You're not bad at trading, you just, because of crypto, it just make your time frame very short. So if you fuck up very quickly. If you make it very quickly, kind of thing. And if they were really doing shady things, then obviously it's wrong, right? But there are a lot of people that want to do good things but end up can't, just because 99% of the projects don't make it anyways. Don't do it, basically. If you don't know crypto, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, who would have thought being endorsed by FTX is not safe as an influencer, right? So,
yeah.
So, like,
I
if
mean,
it's
like
not your
Kobe Ledger was literally getting sponsored, and like they are like, they're good people, you know. Like it's just something that it's very hard to see what's right and what's wrong sometimes. Yeah.
You just need to know your risks, right? Like it's a risk that you're willing to take. It's a reputation risk you're willing to take. As long as you're not doing it like on purpose, I think it's just a risk everyone takes. But obviously, people that are not used to gambling online will think that it's your problem in it. But yeah,
I'm gonna throw a quick curveball, but I have personally heard some stories of some crypto KOLs, or just again like maybe generic tech influencer, sometimes not in the main CT crowd, but in different emerging markets and like all of that, that basically they are the one that got scapegoated by the people that want them to launch the project, right? So like they would work with a KOL, and this KOL might not be as native as you, bro. So like they don't really know sort of like what kind of like shady stuff that their promoter can do, and then they would like snipe their own token that you put your name on it, and then when it dumps, the KOL panics and they're like, holy, like I'm not selling, like why am I getting all of these hates, right? And it's just like sometimes it's like it's exactly as you said. So right, don't think it's just quick and easy money, because you might destroy your entire reputation, especially like if you have a completely separate business and things going on for you, right? If you want to do it, make sure that you have like at least a super trusted technical guy that can at least see, like if there's anybody sniping this on the first block or something, something as simple as that.
So, okay, I'm going to put some exact examples. Please don't do anything with these tokens. I am a basketball fan. I used to be able to play basketball. So I like Scottie Pippen, right?
You used to be able to play what? Okay, got it.
So like, Scottie Pippen, right? This guy, I don't
Scottie
know
Pippen,
how old he is. Yeah, he's like 50 or 60 years old or some shit like that. He went on Twitter and holding some ball that was signed by Michael Jordan or something and say, I'm doing a real world asset project now where I'm going to make a fractional ownership of this basketball. Bro, that guy posted like 5 videos or 10 videos saying this. I just, like, God damn it, man. Like God save you. Like, he's being manipulated for sure. He doesn't know what's going on there. And then I'm just like, I lost. So first, you realize some influencer or some people that you respect is actually dumber than you think. Because you should know you don't know this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to pretend I know how to cook. I'm not like, if it's out of your thing, just out of your thing. Like, just say, yeah.
Right.
But then you see them endorsing things that pretending they understand it, which is dumb as shit. And yeah, that's about it. Like stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Stay in your freaking lane.
Anyway, with that, it's a quick recap because the MrBeast investigation actually very good. It's very long. So if you want to take a look at it again, go to Casper, KASPRLOOCK on X. But the TLDR of what he did, basically, he had a connection of like 50 plus crypto wallets linked to potentially insider trading, shady deals, and like all of that. Most of the activities, though, are from 2021. So some part of me want to give him a little sort of like benefit of the doubt that he didn't know any better, because it was like at the peak mania of like craziness, right? Apparently he netted 23 million plus in profits. The article did outline he still did some of those transactions in 2023 and 2024, but much less compared to 2021, right? And I think what's also interesting, just as a case study of just like the nature of crypto Twitter and like all of these dealings, is that if you read the full article and you see the examples of the tweets and the shilling that MrBeast did, it's actually nothing new. It's just a classic soft shilling done by influencers. Like he would just reply to like a tweet that other maybe like CTKOL with a lot of followers have tweeted with some emojis or with hints about the tokens that they're talking about. It's like these very soft shell, like they're not like, hey, this is my token, you're gonna buy it and you're gonna be rich. Like they know if they say that, they're gonna go straight to jail, right? Like, but this is not even like a clear educational thread, or it's not like your typical CTKOL when it's part of the marketing effort, but at least like everything is above board. This is just sort of like subtle comments and subtle hints, but then turns out on the back end they would get like private deals, or they would get the token basically for free so they can just sell it for like 500k in profits, blah blah. And I think I just want to like, before I pass it on to you again, man, I just want to like close this segment about MrBeast with, in light of recent events that's been happening on crypto Twitter. I'm not going to mention it exactly because I don't want to go into that. But I think for those of you listeners who are terminally online, I think you might know what I'm talking about, right? Some bad stuff happened recently in the past 48 hours. But I think it's very important in our space to do like psychological profiling and like reading of a person. Because this is such a messy space in which people can get a lot of money in such a quick time, or sometimes they might be very young when they get the money and their mental, dude, like for us men, like I know I was dumb when I was like 25, man. And like, or like prefrontal cortex is not developed, right? So it's like sometimes sort of like these very high adrenaline space, it can really, like, it can really affect you as a person in our space. So I guess, like, with regards to that and the MrBeast situation, just like a reminder to, let's just be kind, man, and just like chill. Like, let's not do like stupid stuff, basically.
I just want to end this, like, I always want to be like, I have morals and I want to keep it. But the biggest problem in this industry that is, again, I'll probably still buy MrBeast coins because I know other people will buy it. So we end up endorsing certain effects. But yeah, and a lot of people are just here for the money, including myself. I'm here for the money as well. So even if someone is doing something wrong, if there's a way for me to make money, I probably just buy the token, but I will not talk about it. That's just the part of the industry, right? And that's why a lot of meme coins or pump and dump meme coins still pump. Like, there are profits to be made somehow if you're careful.
Exactly as you said. So, like, if there are things to be traded on and you can potentially make profit on it, right? Then people will still like trade it. If you are in charge at the helm of shilling this, right? Like, again, I'm not going to name the actors. That's a completely different case.
That's a different case. Yeah. Like, you will buy the Bitcoin token, but you should never shill the Bitcoin token, in my opinion. Because not everyone is like I'll DM you and be like, because I know you know the game, right? And I'll be like, oh, Bitcoin just shilled this 2 minutes ago. If you have time, maybe we can long it for like 5 minutes to exit. But like to retail and to
it's
like,
literally gambling. Yeah. But to retail, and that's different.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. Good chat.
Yeah.
To next week. Hopefully it won't be as boring. All right. Take care, bro.
Yeah. Next week's going to be DevCon, so I think it's going to be fun. Cheers, bros. Take care.